I'm Adrienne Arsenault in Whitehorse. Canada's vast, beautiful north is on the front lines of climate change. People here are living it, adapting to it, coming up with solutions as world leaders meet in Glasgow to come up with a global fix.
We need to act now.
Time has quite literally run out.
Tonight, the urgent call for action, who's listening, and those at the heart of the storm.
Canada is warming, on average, twice as quickly as the rest of the world. And in our north, it's 3 times quicker.
As elders in this community, how are we going to be part of this solution?
I'm Andrew Chang. Also tonight, Newfoundland and Labrador's health system gets knocked offline.
Our email systems are down, our patient information system is down.
Thousands of patients affected, from COVID tests to surgeries, everything but emergencies a no-go. And the messy fight in court over who controls one of Canada's biggest telcos.
He was obsessed with the family keeping the company.
An insider lays out the battle for control. This is The National.
The people of the north who live in places like this in the Yukon are not the world's heavy emitters, but they are paying a heavy price. All across the north, temperatures are rising 3 times faster than the rest of the world. That is why tonight and tomorrow we are bringing The National to the north, part of our commitment to covering our changing planet and the stories of the people living right here at ground zero. Half a world away at COP26 in Glasgow, leaders are at least agreeing on one thing, that time is running out. But that is already so clear in the Yukon's rapidly thawing permafrost, in BC's heat waves this summer that killed 600 people, in the wildfires that burned Lytton right off the map, in the drought-withered fields of the prairies, cattle herds sold and slaughtered before they wasted away. Those worrying messages now spoken daily in fire and wind and water. But as Chris Brown shows us in Glasgow, the trouble isn't exactly urgency, it's unity.
The UN Climate Summit is something like a giant exercise in peer pressure, with world leaders supposedly egged on by each other to go further and faster at cutting greenhouse gas emissions. Joe Biden insisted the U.S., which has poured more pollutants into the air than anyone else, will hit net zero emissions by the 2050 target.
We'll demonstrate to the world the United States is not only back at the table, but hopefully leading by the power of our example.
But no amount of cajoling, it seemed, would push India's Narendra Modi to move faster. He said it will take till 2070 to hit net zero. The UN Secretary General warned of the implications of moving too slow.
Our addiction to fossil fuels is pushing humanity to the brink.
But the leaders of 2 of the world's biggest polluters aren't even here. We met the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, and he told us that's a key regret.
But can there really be a solution to this problem without China being at the table?
I don't think so. I think they have to be at the table. I think Russia have to be at the table. I think this is a problem that has to be dealt with by all of us together.
Outside the conference, climate activists were so far unimpressed.
This COP26 is so far just like the previous COPs, and that has led us nowhere.
There was also a Scottish-themed protest for the leaders being all talk.
This is the world leaders pumping hot air in the atmosphere. This is what we are thinking that is going to happen in the coming days if something different is not in our way.
Tonight, Britain's royal family welcomed delegates at a reception as the Queen, who was advised by her doctors to rest, sent words of encouragement by video.
But history has shown that when nations come together in common cause, there is always room for hope.
Tonight, world leaders announced their first major deal of COP26, an agreement to halt deforestation by 2030, which is one of the major reasons for increased greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Chris Brown, CBC News, Glasgow.
That gulf between talk and action has long been a problem at these conferences. That includes Canada. When Justin Trudeau delivered his promises, as David Cochrane explains, attention was on the substance.
Justin Trudeau arrives here as both a climate champion and a contradiction. He imposed a carbon price and is committed to a carbon-neutral economy. but he also bought a pipeline.
The science is clear. We must do more and faster. So that's the pledge and the call I bring to this historic meeting.
Trudeau's answer to his own call is to make good on an election promise.
We'll cap oil and gas sector emissions today and ensure they decrease tomorrow at a pace and scale needed to reach net zero by 2050. That's no small task for a major oil and gas producing country.
No small task, but a big disappointment to some.
The biggest challenge we have is oil and gas production. Unfortunately, the solution he came up with focused on emissions and not production.
Without production cuts, even if extraction is made greener, oil and gas would just be burned elsewhere. The other disappointment, nothing new. At a conference focused on raising ambitions, Trudeau repeated existing measures.
Our emissions today are the same pretty much as they were in 2005. I think the world has reason to feel suspicious of Canada when it says we're going to do more, we're going to do better.
I'm the first one to say that we need to do more.
Canada's Environment Minister agrees the work isn't finished, but he disagrees that his government fell short. Rather, they got the big things done early.
Raising ambition is exactly what we've done. We've raised our target as per the Paris Accord, and we've submitted this last spring.
Guilbeault says Canada's pledges have been well received by other countries, and tomorrow the Prime Minister will host an event showcasing Canada's carbon pricing plan, as Trudeau makes the case for a minimum global price on carbon. David Cochrane, CBC News, Glasgow.
Trudeau's pledge to cap emissions from the oil and gas sector drew fire from Alberta Premier Jason Kenney.
I don't know why they would make an announcement like this without consulting with the province that actually owns the overwhelming majority of Canada's oil and gas reserves. If he cares about the economy and jobs, as he claimed to in this recent election, then he will work with us to ensure a future for Canada's largest industry.
Kenney announced $170 million for 16 projects designed to capture, store, or use carbon as a way of reducing emissions. The hope is to cut 7 million tons of greenhouse gas by 2030. So the scorching heat dome in British Columbia this past summer is one of the extreme weather events experts say we can expect to see much more frequently. And today, a stark picture of deaths caused by that event. New figures from the BC coroner say between June 18th and August 12th, the deaths of close to 600 people were related to the heat. Even more staggering, 231 people died on a single day, June 29th, nearly 10 people every hour. Here in the north, the effects of a changing planet are no secret. Extreme weather has reshaped life in many northern communities. Earlier this spring, our CBC News team visited Fort Simpson in the Northwest Territories as near historic flooding ravaged houses. Now, 6 months later, the cleanup continues, and so does the preparation for the next time. Here's Juanita Taylor.
Just go inside and have a look.
Derek Erasmus's family home was devastated in May when the Mackenzie River flooded Fort Simpson. Unsalvageable, last week it was demolished.
It was a little bit emotional, you know. We started our family in there.
Dozens more homes were damaged in the floods, 9 of them so badly they were slated for demolition like the Erasmuses. The territorial government gave those residents 2 choices for help: stay or move to higher ground and get a prefabricated new house.
We decided to leave the property just because we really don't want to ever have to go through anything like this again. It has been stressful.
Water and ice damaged Alison DePelham's home beyond repair. She's decided to stay on her property. Now the ground will be raised for her new house.
As long as my house is 4 feet higher than the original, and I'd had a basement, now I won't have a basement, the house will be better protected against future floods.
Community members fear the changing climate means Fort Simpson could see more floods.
We're surrounded by boreal forest, we've got huge rivers, and when we see impacts like what we saw this spring, we're faced with almost annihilating our community.
The mayor of Fort Simpson says the territorial government needs to be more prepared.
I think that the territorial government was caught very flat-footed after this flood, and they're definitely going to have to look at a better disaster relief program.
You can just see all the changes here, and it's right in front of you. So it's a serious issue, and I think Canada has to wake up and be more aggressive about what we're doing about it.
While the rebuild continues, people in Fort Simpson are already thinking about next spring. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Yellowknife.
And so as communities here in the north feel that burden from the effects of climate change, they are dedicating themselves to finding ways to adapt and to do better for all. In the remote community of Old Crow, they are hoping to lead by example.
In the summer months, we have 24 hours of daylight. And so this is really the perfect opportunity. I look out my front window and this is what I see. The solar project right on our berry patch. We had to make that decision as elders in this community and how are we going to be part of the solution.
So a little later, I'll take you to the extraordinary Old Crow, where I heard from members of the Vuntut-Gwitchin First Nation about how the land they rely on is changing and what they are doing to protect it.
Okay, looking forward to it, Adrian. Now let's get you to the other news of the day. In Newfoundland and Labrador tonight, thousands of people are facing canceled hospital appointments, even surgeries. The province's healthcare system is down after an apparent cyber attack. Chris O'Neill-Yates takes us through the fallout.
Most days you'd be lucky to get a parking spot at the largest hospital in the province. Now it's emergencies only at the Health Sciences Centre and other hospitals in the region. Paul Vincent drove 350 kilometres only to find that his procedure had been cancelled.
I've been diagnosed with something on my vocal cords, a growth on my vocal cords, so they want to do a biopsy of that.
This woman's husband was supposed to have knee surgery.
You have to be psyched up for this surgery, and you know you're going to be put under, and with what he's already after going through the last 6 months and now this on top of it.
The entire province has been hit by an apparent cyber attack, but the eastern region, home to the most people and the most services, has suffered the biggest impact.
Our email systems are down, our patient information system is down. We're not able to access diagnostic imaging or lab results.
We may have been victims of a possible cyber attack.
Sources tell CBC News the healthcare system has been hit by a ransomware attack, where hackers hold information or IT systems hostage until ransom is paid. Health Minister John Haggie says it's still being investigated.
Oral questions.
The opposition pushed for more details.
Unfortunately, we didn't get an answer to understand the serious situation, if there has been a ransom request or not.
Unfortunately, for a lot of organizations, it's not so much a question of like if they're going to get attacked, it's more when they're going to get attacked.
It doesn't take long for ransomware attackers to reveal themselves, says this expert.
Usually after a few days, if they don't receive payment, these groups, when they do steal the data first, they'll usually boast about it and try to shame the victims into paying.
That's little comfort to those concerned about getting appointments rebooked.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit concerned about it. But who do you be angry with?
Okay, so Chris, any sense when this could be cleared up?
Well, today, Andrew, here at the Health Sciences Centre, we had only emergencies, again tomorrow and probably in the days to come. Now, all of this has made a situation that was already backlogged even worse, and then we add to that the pandemic. It's not unusual in this province for people to wait a year to 2 years to get surgery or to see a specialist. So all of these cancellations will have an impact throughout the system, throughout the province for some time to come, Andrew.
Okay, Chris O'Neill-Yates, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, CBC News has obtained a previously unseen video of a 2016 police interview with confessed serial killer Bruce McArthur, the public's only first-hand look at an interaction between McArthur and Toronto police. Now, out of respect for those affected by McArthur's crimes, and because its contents have been previously reported, we're only showing a small portion of the entire 11-minute interview.
Has
Anything like this ever happened before where things got out of hand?
Not like that, no, not that quickly, or not, just like that.
Okay. Things have never gotten violent?
No.
Okay.
That's McArthur being questioned by Toronto Police Sergeant Paul Gauthier in June of 2016 after a man said McArthur had violently choked him. Gauthier released McArthur, who went on to kill at least 2 of his 8 known victims. Gauthier also faced legal action over his handling of the case, but was later cleared of wrongdoing. CBC, along with other media outlets, argued for the release of that video. Well, 2 of the most powerful men in hockey face some tough questions today. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman and head of the NHL Players Association, N.W.T. Both are pledging more accountability after player Kyle Beach said he was sexually assaulted by a coach. Here's Cameron McIntosh on how those promises were received.
On the ice, business as usual at Winnipeg Jets practice. Off of it, players' union reps like Mark Scheifele looking for answers from NHLPA leadership.
It'll be more listening for me, I'd say, than anything.
Similar feelings around the league.
I was just hungry to kind of get to the bottom of what was known.
NHLPA Executive Director Donald fears the latest being called out for failing to act after Kyle Beach said he was sexually assaulted by former Chicago video coach Brad Aldrich. Last week, Chicago admitted they ignored the complaint to focus on their 2010 Stanley Cup run. Beach has since gone public.
The one thing that I want to make sure that comes from this is change.
I am sorry for what he has been through.
Today, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman said the league will review its harassment policies and set up a network to help people at all levels of hockey report abuse.
If this horrible situation should serve any constructive purpose, it's to demonstrate that this will not be tolerated.
This incident, like no other, is positioned the NHL to be leaders in this space.
On Hockey Night in Canada, victims advocate Sheldon Kennedy called out the NHL, saying it needs a culture change. He didn't hear much about that today.
A lot of times people don't feel safe enough. They don't feel confident to go for help.
Over 25 years, Kennedy's Respect Group has trained 1.7 million amateur athletes and coaches. If the NHL wants help, he says, it can call him. It hasn't. Beach's lawyer says missing is a commitment to victims.
That minimizes what happened, as though the error was just an error in communication instead of an error in a disgusting culture that existed.
The NHLPA has also apologized. Tonight, it's holding a vote into whether to have an independent investigator look into how it handled the situation. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, a Toronto high school teacher is under investigation after showing up to school in blackface during Halloween celebrations. Students say their whole class was shocked after their white teacher walked in wearing blackface on Friday. In a letter to parents, the school's principal called the incident racist and dehumanizing. The teacher has since been placed on home assignment until the investigation is done. Now, Toronto School Board is also cracking down on unvaccinated staff. It has one of the toughest vaccine mandates in the country. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson looks at the challenges that brings and how other school boards across the country are handling the issue.
Bonjour. Hello. Bamidele Sanusi can breathe a sigh of relief. His children are too young to be vaccinated, but as of today, most of those who teach them will be.
Information that is passed across to the students or whatever the belief of the teachers are, it sometimes reflects on the kids. So I think it's a great step.
Manitoba's vaccine requirement for school staff is similar to Ontario's. Get the shot or get tested 3 times a week. While that's more than some provinces have in place, Alberta and BC left that decision up to the school boards. Some think it doesn't go far enough. The country's biggest school board, Toronto District, mandates vaccination for all. No testing option unless there's a medical exemption. But this approach has its challenges. Today was the deadline for staffers just to declare their vaccination status. Just under 1,000 of the board's 40,000 employees haven't. Those who missed the deadline will be put on unpaid leave effective tomorrow. But those who squeaked in under the wire will get an additional 3 weeks to complete their vaccinations.
We want to make sure that we not only have enough time to review medical and creed-based exemption requests, but also make sure that we have enough time to make sure that enough staff are there to replace those that are now being put on administrative leave.
Quebec hasn't brought in a vaccine mandate because so many educators opted to get their shots, but this teacher says mandates send a strong message to holdouts.
If you're choosing not to be vaccinated, you are making a choice to not participate in something that I would consider to be social good.
In provinces like Alberta, some school boards are asking educators to pay for their own rapid testing if they choose not to get vaccinated. Measures to keep COVID out of schools as much as possible until the youngest of students can roll up their sleeves. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, the fight for power at the head of Rogers Communications landed in a BC court today, but how did it get so ugly?
I feel for Ted and his legacy. I like Ted so much, and this is not what he would have wanted.
Coming up, how Ted Rogers' dream to keep his company in the family turned into a legal drama.
And we head to Old Crow, Yukon, where people are working on solutions while bearing the brunt of a changing climate.
In the future, this is the only fighting chance that we have.
But first, a new study underlines a different urgency.
I think most anywhere that takes action to mitigate climate change can expect enormous benefits very, very rapidly.
Boy, experts say tackling pollution can have immediate health benefits. We're back in 2. We are back to you from Whitehorse, in a part of Canada where changes to the climate have been obvious for years. As we continue our coverage of our changing planet, we want to examine the impact on individual health. New research today suggests cutting carbon emissions right now could save many lives. And as Lauren Pelly explains, those health benefits could come sooner than you think.
Curbing climate change can feel like a long-term problem with far-off solutions. Yet a new study suggests efforts to clean our air may also provide sweeping health benefits in our own lifetimes.
The same way we saw with COVID lockdowns, air gets clean right away.
A research team from Duke University found limiting global warming to no more than 2 degrees could boost air quality, prevent many respiratory infections, and avoid roughly 4.5 million premature deaths, as well as 1.4 million hospitalizations and ER visits. That's just in the U.S. and just over the next 50 years.
There's just so many benefits.
The researchers analyzed dozens of studies on air pollution and human health, then built their predictions using NASA climate modeling. This Canadian climate change expert says it pays to act fast and be aggressive.
Addressing the climate crisis in Canada means eliminating the use of fossil fuels within decades. So when we do that, we get those same kinds of benefits that they found in this U.S. study.
The health impacts go beyond air quality. In the Maritimes, rising sea levels threaten coastal communities. Out west, extreme heat this summer claimed hundreds of lives. And in the north, rising temperatures and thawing permafrost have a ripple effect.
If climate change is also impacting the migration routes of animals, well then the harvesting habits of Inuit will be changed, and the healthy country food is not becoming readily available.
I think most anywhere that takes action to mitigate climate change can expect enormous benefits very, very rapidly.
Climate experts say that means benefits for our health now and long-term benefits for the health of our planet. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
When we come back, more special coverage from Canada's north and the people dealing with the impacts of a changing climate right now.
So if the ice forms over the Lytton, then the caribou can't get it, eh?
Well, right now they got so much snow to remove, and that burns energy.
The problems and their unique made-to-measure solutions right after this. Those who live in the isolated beauty of the Arctic are witnessing the effects of climate change on almost every aspect of their lives. So welcome back to the National and Whitehorse. The people of the North didn't largely cause the climate change they're now enduring, and yet they are taking responsibility, coming up with solutions and adaptations. 130 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle is the fly-in community of Old Crow. There, the Vantat Gwich'in First Nation lead the way, not just for themselves, but to show the rest of the world better is possible. The ravens of Old Crow see what's happening. People getting ready to go to the mountain. Hunters long worried, now energized. Because look, up there on the range, the porcupine caribou herd finally spotted. Inexplicably late, arriving here in curiously smaller numbers, but to be seen at all, a relief. Charging ahead, Old Crow's Deputy Chief Paul Josie, a dad and hunter anxious about changes in the landscape, some so simple.
You see where the caribou kind of come down this way.
I guess if you've got a big caribou snout, it's easier, right?
And their hooves.
Digging around for snow-buried lichen, the caribou's crucial food. Problem is, when the weather's warmer, rain or wet snow forms ice on top of it.
So if the ice forms over the lichen, then the caribou can't get it, eh?
Well, right now they got so much snow to remove, and that burns energy. And then they hit that layer of ice.
Yeah.
And then they got to break the ice just to get to the plants.
So it's not worth it for them.
It's harder because they're trying to conserve as much energy.
Food blocked by ice can steer them away from these grounds. So can this willow shrub choking the trails. This may be part of why the caribou's patterns seem to be shifting.
Climate change, a lot of water is coming down and also dries up, but there's also a lot of growth because we have longer periods of warmth, and a lot of the soil's got a longer active layer, so the willow just grows rapid and grows thicker. It's taking up a lot of nutrients. Like animals can get through it, but not easily, that they'll try to avoid it, and that changes their path.
And the shrub is everywhere, crowding out berry patches. Some berry harvests were thin this year after a record-breaking hot, dry summer. The apparent effects from a shifting climate visible mountainside and in the exceptionally low riverbeds. The Chinook and chum salmon haven't returned in needed numbers. The warmer, wetter conditions leading to more permafrost thaw, drained lakes and slides, known as thaw slumps. This land is struggling, enough that Old Crow became among the first Indigenous communities to declare a climate emergency in 2019, which means anxiety for those who live here about food insecurity and what may be next. Lorraine Nitro, raised in Old Crow, an elder now. Hanging on to traditions and a thought. Climate changes may not be entirely of this community's doing, but part of any solution is just outside her window, an ambitious solar project.
What do they offer you here?
They offer us clean energy. We've always been diesel reliant. We live in the Arctic, so in the summertime, in the summer months, we have 24 hours of daylight. And so this is really the perfect opportunity.
This is in your front yard, right? These solar panels. This is not natural. This is not a natural part of the landscape.
It took some getting used to. I look out my front window and this is what I see. The solar project right on our berry patch. We had to make that decision as elders in this community and how are we going to be part of this solution. When they were turned on this past spring, and I felt a sense of pride.
Is it any wonder? Because through a climate-conscious lens, there's an uncomfortable reality here. Like all off-grid northern communities, Old Crow relies on diesel, which is flown in several times a year. Fuel burned just to bring in more fuel. The emissions produced from using all that diesel equivalent to 500 transatlantic flights a year. The constant low hum, that's the community's soundtrack for nearly 5 decades. But
when the solar panels turned on this summer, the generators turned off for the very first time. That will mean a savings of 189,000 liters of fuel over a year. Old Crow can go further, is gathering data on wind power to get through the dark winters. And even that annoying willow shrub happens to be an excellent biofuel. Determining how to harvest it is the next project. Just maybe the diesel generators will soon turn off entirely.
We're just trying to make these changes to start a ripple effect. That we can make these changes, a small little community up in the north, to make these big changes that we could try and make our difference and our impact.
And when that's on the ground, then it freezes over, it covers the...
At a camp on the mountainside, elders like Lorraine and young leaders talk of the future. Regardless of what the rest of the world does, Old Crow vows to be carbon neutral by 2030.
But I do believe that in the future, like, this is the only fighting chance that we have, because like the reality is you won't be able to depend on gas forever. Like, everybody knows that, and losing my train of thought with the shots.
It's such a good sound. Faint pops of gunshots in the distance entirely change the mood. They know the hunters have succeeded.
You know that we still practice our way of life, and the land is our teacher. Absolutely. And just hearing those shots, it's really emotional. Yeah.
Those who hunt feeling responsible for making sure all of Old Crow eats this winter, knowing the herd may be here fleetingly. Whatever they gather, they share. Good news for the ravens, too.
It's really fills my heart with joy. You know, I got 3 grandsons, and they like the taste of caribou and moose, and there's certainly going to be chow in tonight, that's for sure.
Mary Jane Moses, so emotional at the sound of those shots, so calm at home working with the meat.
Is pride the right word to describe how you might feel about your community and the innovation?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, really. I hope that when people see this on TV, that they get motivated to make change in their community, and good changes, and so that we can adapt to climate change and still practice our way of life.
This is the balance they want, and the balance they know the rest of the world needs. And just maybe Old Crow has to lead the way.
And Andrew, Old Crow just hosted, incidentally, a gathering of scientists presenting findings on water and permafrost and vegetation, all that data, working in concert with what the people of Old Crow see on a daily basis.
Right, and clearly there's some urgency, right? Judging from the reactions of the people there, the scenes that they're seeing daily.
Absolutely. You know, there are vulnerabilities there, certainly on the climate front, of course, on a COVID front. You know, securing permission to be there was a process to make sure we didn't put anyone at any kind of risk. The N.W.T First Nation is acutely aware of being, you know, both safe and a sustainable community, and a lot of the work to ensure both comes from the chief. So his name is N.W.T. His voice is gaining prominence globally. I have a feeling we will all hear a lot from him in the future. And we had a chance to sit down here and in Whitehorse and chat, and here's a bit of that.
Here I am standing in front of the world saying by 2030, our village is going to be carbon neutral. What will that signal for other communities who are saying that they can't do it? If a rural community, and if my humble community can do this, any community can do it.
So that is airing tomorrow night on The National.
Okay, excellent. Meanwhile, coming up, the Rogers family continues to fight over who controls the company.
One person has to be in charge. Too many cooks in the kitchen, problems will happen.
We'll look at how it came to this next. Welcome back. For weeks, Canada's ultra-powerful Rogers family has been locked in a messy public battle for control of their enormous media empire. Today, that contest landed in the Supreme Court of British Columbia. That's where the company is incorporated. So the court is being asked to rule on which of two competing boards has legitimate authority. The new hand-picked board led by the eldest son, Edward Rogers, or the board that was in place before his attempt to remove the company's CEO, which triggered all of this. That board is backed by Edward's mother and sisters. A ruling is expected on Friday. But as the battle for Rogers rages on, some Canadians may be wondering exactly how it came to all of this. Tonight, Jacqueline Hansen examines how the family's patriarch, Ted Rogers, structured the company and how his drive to keep it in the family may have accidentally sown the seeds of conflict.
Well, that's the balcony of Ted's office. Spent a lot of hours up there.
Robert Brell learned about Ted Rogers' succession plans from the man himself.
He was obsessed with the family keeping the company.
Brell co-authored Ted's autobiography. He says Ted's obsession with the future came from his father.
His father was a genius who created the first plug-in radio. He created CFRB radio station. He died young. His mother lost the company. And she told Ted over and over as he was growing up, your job is to get the company back for us. And that's why keeping family control was so important to him.
The way the company is set up allowed Ted to make sure his family was always in the driver's seat. Rogers shares are split into two, Class A and Class B. Class A shareholders can vote and essentially have a say in the direction the company goes. Class B shareholders can't vote, they just go along for the ride. Ted was the controlling shareholder of all Class A shares. When he died, he handed the keys to his family and close friends in something he created called the Rogers Control Trust. And to start, his son Edward would drive it.
He said, for the book's purposes, I'll just make it clear, two things. One, I want the Rogers family to keep control as long as possible. Two, one person has to be in charge. Too many cooks in the kitchen, problems will happen. Well, problems happened anyway.
But the company's dual share structure isn't unique to Rogers. In Canada, Bombardier, Canadian Tire, Shaw, even Shopify have two types of shares. So each company benefits from going public, while an exclusive group of investors gets the biggest say in decisions. David Beattie used to be against the dual share idea.
One share, one vote, that's sort of a central tenet of our lives.
But he changed his mind. Among the reasons, he looked at the performance of Canada's largest family-controlled companies, most of which have dual shares, and compared them to their non-family counterparts.
They outperformed by about 50% a year. It's not trivial. It was a major differential.
Why do you think that is?
Pretty easy. They have a longer-term focus. We pay executives to get the next quarter right. Very clear focus on short-termism. Families don't have that pressure, and dual-class share controlled companies don't have that pressure, which is hugely important for them. Don't lose heart in family-controlled dual-class shares companies. We have a lot of happy families doing well for shareholders in this country.
But dual-class shares are still a contentious issue.
One of the things that happens with dual-class structures is that over time, what seemed to be a really good idea or was working very well might stop working.
Catherine McCall with the Canadian Coalition for Good Governance says her members want companies to adopt a sunset clause.
A sunset clause determines that the structure has to end at a certain point in time or upon the occurrence of a certain event, like the founder retires, or the recurrence, you have a recurring vote on the part of the subordinate shareholders about whether they want the structure to continue. So with a sunset, you can reintroduce the concept of accountability.
If the controlling family is embroiled in drama, the other shareholders can vote to take their power away. At Rogers, that's not an option Ted left behind. Instead, the keys can be passed around, but they'll likely stay within the family. It's the control Ted intended, but not the publicity.
I feel for Ted and his legacy. I like Ted so much, and this is not what he would have wanted.
Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
Earlier, we mentioned the hundreds of deaths after BC's extreme heat last summer. One community knows the effects all too well and is eager to just get back to normal.
What are we going to do if we don't rebuild and get on with it?
We head back to Lytton, BC, months after a devastating fire. Welcome back. As world leaders meet at the UN Climate Change Conference, Justin Trudeau used some of his time today to talk about what happened in BC this summer.
In Canada, there was a town called Lytton. I say was because on June 30th, it burned to the ground.
The day before the village burned down, the temperature had hit 49.6 degrees Celsius, the hottest ever recorded in Canada. 4 months after that fire, most residents are still displaced, but the town has now announced a recovery plan. As Brady Strachan tells us, while some are determined to rebuild, others do not want to go back.
Sorry? You want to grab this, take it down?
Don Glasgow and his wife Tricia are tired of waiting for permission to rebuild. They've started construction on a new home on their property just outside of Lytton.
This is a house that's being built on love, friendship, and community, quite frankly.
That was the end of the greenhouse.
The couple lost everything in the June 30th fire. They hope this concrete home will withstand any future wildfires, but they know not all of their neighbors will follow their lead.
A lot of the older people won't be back. You know, that's the bad part. And we've already known 3 friends that bought outside of Lytton.
A few kilometers away, Lytton is still a disaster zone. Burnt-out buildings line the main street through the village.
The fire started in Hobo Hollow.
Mayor Jan Polderman says despite what the village looks like, there is work going on behind the scenes.
I think many people are frustrated with the rate of progress.
The village finally released its proposal on rebuilding. The draft recovery plan outlines 8 immediate needs, including emergency and temporary housing, financial aid, and critical infrastructure, such as sewage and clean water systems. But paramount is the need to remove fire debris and possible environmental hazards from the rubble before residents can return safely. Some of that demolition work has started, and there's now government support to complete the job. The province announced funding to transport and dispose all of the debris from the more than 150 homes and businesses lost in the fire. The government is also extending emergency supports until next spring for people who have lost everything. Back on their property, Thorpe and Glasgow are eager to finish their home. They hope to move in this winter.
Determination. What else are we going to do? We have no choice. I mean, what are we going to do if we don't rebuild and get on with it?
A sentiment many here share. Brady Strachan, CBC News, Lytton, British Columbia.
Well, when we come back, a major moment for a Canadian veteran and the man who helped him when he was deployed in Afghanistan.
How are you, buddy? It's a long journey, man.
The story behind that special reunion next. Retired Corporal Robin Rickards served 3 tours in Afghanistan, and for the last decade, he's been trying to bring the men who helped him there here. A few days ago, Robin and his translator and friend Abdul were reunited in Thunder Bay. That moment is our moment.
We met in 2006 when I was over in Afghanistan. Whenever we had downtime, we'd kind of hang out. Life goes on from there, and you know, I had kids, Jamie had kids. Last time I saw him was on my 3rd tour. You know, caught up. I grabbed copies of his documents from him. It's been an ongoing process ever since. The work that we did in Afghanistan was impossible without the contributions of guys like Jamie. And how are you, buddy? It's a long journey, man.
I'm really excited of meeting my friends after 15 or 16 years. We were struggling for years, him especially, and he was pushing the government to just make it happen. And I'm really happy that I made it to live along with him, and that's really nice. It was really an unforgettable moment.
And it's such a relief to see him safe. He's had a really hard time. He was assigned in the early 2000s as the interpreter for Captain Nicola Goddard, who was a Canadian female combat soldier killed. He was in the car, in the vehicle when the RPG hit. He has been through a lot.
Yeah, what a difficult journey. And Robin's keen to point out that a big part of Abdul's success is that he speaks English, but that not everyone in Afghanistan has that ability. So a reminder to advocate for those in need. And Adrian, you're still in Whitehorse tomorrow, right?
Indeed. We will be back here with more tomorrow night. That is a national for November the 1st. Good night.
Good night.